Hello, my name is Emily Stenik. This is Dennis Diaz and Jean Carlos Casasola. And this is our senior project, and it's an online robotics program for middle school students. So the purpose of our project is to design an online course for middle school students in order to get them more involved and more interested in a STEMs field later on. The project's intent is to produce online resources rather than, right now, we're just going to focus on online resources such as homework and stuff like that. And later on, it's going to eventually become a fully online course that can be directly relationship with FIU. So the reason that we're doing this is because right now there are local schools that have already engineering electives such as robotics, but really all they do is play with the robotics kit, the Legos kit that everyone knows. They play with it and they mess around with the tools and stuff, but they don't really learn what it is that robotics really is, and they don't get the fundamentals that they need in order to be more familiarized with it later on. So we have there's a lot of STEM initiatives going on in the United States right now. The first being the President's 2016 budget, which invests more than $3 billion in STEMs and they have a goal of preparing 100,000 STEM teachers in the next decade, right? Along with the Department of Education, which has invested $125 million into very functioning labs for teaching and learning robotics, as well as the National Science Foundation, investing $135 million for this initiative to improve robotics teaching in federal government. And National Education Association plans to raise $1.5 million for STEMs research, and 110 unites all the federal and educational and academic institutions, nonprofit organizations, in order to have that 100,000 STEM teachers by 2021.
Good morning, my name is Jean Carlo, and basically what we want to do is kind of cooperate with a middle school, local middle school actually, is Ruben Dario. What's special about them is that they already have they have an engineering program in place where from 6th to 8th grade they start learning programming tools. At 6th grade I think they start with a simple programming like Scratch, and it goes all the way to 8th grade, which is Java. So actually what we want to do is create like a simple robotics kit that it's not the Lego or the Vex, but it's something that's easy for them to like understand, to build, but they're also gaining a concept behind robotics. Now the background behind robotics, why we chose robotics is it incorporates a lot of the engineering concepts that we're currently learning, and then we kind of want to push students to follow an engineering field, a STEM field for the future. So robotics itself incorporates math, it incorporates science, it incorporates programming. So we kind of feel like that's why it's a strong suit for us. Now these are the current products in place. You have the Lego Mindstorms, the Vex, and the Fisher Technic. But obviously with these, the prices go up really high in range. Obviously, for a class, if you were to be able to provide one, for example, it's cheap because realistically it's $350, and $150 for only one. But now, say a sample class size is like 25 students, and if you only buy one of them, you're not really gaining all their attentions. It's more of you want to divide the groups into like 3 or 4, which is going to come up on the next slide, to optimize their learning capabilities. And then what makes us different, like I said before, we want to make something suitable for everybody around the globe, not something with that price range because realistically, like, it's not being incorporated as it should be in the United States. And then obviously the parts have to be easily manufacturable. If we start at a certain price, say like we aim for $100 for the kit itself, as we're producing more, obviously the cost itself goes up.
I'm going to take over now. These are some ideas or concepts. We haven't really narrowed down on what we want to do with the kit. We would like to maybe combine two of these to make them in one, but again, these are middle school students and their knowledge is very limited. Some schools already start teaching engineering. We want to build, if they already have knowledge, we want to build on it. So we want to teach about microcontrollers, servos, sensors, capitalize on some of their prior knowledge of programming if they have any. And we want to provide online tools like tutorials, videos. These are some of the standards. We have the National Science Education Standards. They're benchmarked for literacy, science literacy. You have, if we decided we would have to bracket it as a toy, so we would follow some of the product safety commissions on children's toys, make sure they won't choke on any of the parts, it's fire retardant, the electrical parts, they can't get shocked, stuff like that. You have the National Science Teachers Association. This is a basic standards for class labs, making sure the students know how they should behave in the laboratory. And then you have the National Science Teachers Association. This is our standards for the next generation of teaching in STEM. Our global initiatives, we want to be able to provide, we're going to use SI and English units. We want to be able to translate it into English, Spanish, and maybe another language, but it's kind of hard. The course content online, make it available to anybody in the world who wants to access it, they can with no problem. And we want to make the kit anywhere in the world, so easily manufacturable and assemblable anywhere in the world. This is a timeline for the project. So far we're working right now on a conceptual idea, and then we're going to do our analysis during the summer, and then we'll do the rest during the fall, finish up. To conclude, we just want to really provide a foundation for these kids to start learning, because STEMs is the future, engineering is the future, and everybody knows it. So if we get a head start on it, in the future, there's countless possibilities. And we're on track to meet with the President's initiative and FIU's initiative to go out and teach local schools and help with education. And who's your advisor for this? Dr. Tosunoglu.
I think this is a laudable project. I'm teaching a dual enrollment course at one of the high schools right now, and I see the need for this and for you to be drilling down to the middle school. So definitely this is something worthwhile pursuing and trying to get ahead of the curve, because there's certainly a lack of STEM education out there and motivations for students to pursue STEM education. I don't know to what extent you've thought about incorporating gamification into your concept, seeing that this is being offered online, because that's a new education strategy. Certainly at the middle school and the high school level, where most people are into gaming, gamification is a way of engaging them and also providing an opportunity to integrate the assessment and evaluation of the teaching and facilitate better teaching and learning of these concepts. So my question is, to what extent have you thought about integrating and incorporating gamification?
We haven't really gone really into detail with that, but for example, the first programming that they're taught in 6th grade is Scratch. Basically what it is kind of like a computer game online where it's a character, and whatever you input into the program is what the character does basically on the screen. But we haven't gotten really into depth on the game.
Think about that.
It's a good idea.
Okay. All right.
So I have a question regarding just the scope and the focus of your project. I hear the online assisted coursework, I hear the robotics kit. What can we really expect from you guys in terms of deliverable for the end of the end of the fall, the end of your term with this project?
Well, we're gonna have a robotics kit to give the students for their course, but we're also gonna have online tools that they can access easily, and that way the teacher maybe won't have to make their own homework assignments or their own tutorials or any of that. It's just like an extra thing, the online, but our main focus is the kit.
So are we gonna expect your own developed online tools or pointing to other
Yes.
resources?
No, our own development, yes.
Are your standards interrelated with UL and CE mark standards? United listed underwriters,
Underwriters Lab.
lab, and CE mark, and all that.
We didn't look into
Sorry, you done? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. I should definitely look into that one.
Yeah.
Have you thought about using videos in your online tutorials?
Yes, actually, the videos would come in with the robotics kit, whichever one we are able to design, the videos would specify to that robotics kit, and that would be the online tutorials, for example.
Okay, because I work with them every day, and a lot of the students that I see, they go to YouTube for all their resources and
Right.
other websites, but I think using videos is going to be a very visual way for them to learn, especially as somebody who's 12, 13.
And they're mostly visual learners.
Visual learners, right? So,
You state that that you've been working with Ruben Dario, which is a Miami-Dade county public school, which is also part of the state of Florida, which follows the Florida Sunshine Standards. Yet nowhere in your standards do you indicate Florida Sunshine Standards for science. You need to do that if you're going to try and at least use a prototype in any one of the schools here. You're going to have to get the Miami-Dade County Public Schools on board with you, or you with them, so that they can say, yes, this is an acceptable thing for them to use. You have to include that as part of your standards as well. Did you know any of that?
Yeah.
Well, we went to Archimedes, and they have nothing. Like, none of the administration come. All they're required to do is enter a competition. I'm not sure if that's because they're a private school or not. Maybe
It's a
different.
private
Ruben
school,
Dario is
actually.
public.
No,
No, I'm talking Archimedes. It's-
Oh, okay.
Archimedes, actually, their robotics teacher is one of our senior students, mechanical and
But they're not
teacher
required
before.
to do anything but enter
So they
competitions.
don't really have anything.
But as for Ruben Dario, yeah, we have to look into that, definitely, and we knew about it. We haven't really been able to have that much contact with Ruben Dario, but that's our plan right now, is to go to them because of the fact that they have this STEAM, they have like a STEAM program instead of STEM, it's called STEAM. And they already have engineering courses available to them, so it'd be a lot,
I know the principal there is a friend of mine, so let me know when you want to get there.
that would be perfect, thank you.
You can also talk to Dr. Gus Roy here in electrical engineering, since
He's well
one of the
connected.
initial,
well connected.
he's the guy who started the Flame program, which is a Florida action for minorities in engineering. He could probably, get you some kind of an introduction as well into more than just Ruben Dario, because he's been involved in a lot of other schools, both middle and as well as high school.
Do you have some sort of cost analysis in your mind?
we kind of went into like the parts for each of the designs that were up there. We kind of like looked them up, but since we haven't actually chosen one, we didn't really look into the cost of it.
Because you had a slide comparing.
Yeah, the three kits are available right now, but the cost analysis for us would be anything lower than that, basically, from the $200 range and down.
And how many of these would you be proposing to set up for a kit?
For now, it would be one specific kit, and then from there, it's depending on how much it expands, how many, whether it's successful or not, how many kits would be able to be produced.
Archie, can you go back to the slide of your 4 ideas? Okay. Out of those 4, which way you guys are leaning?
We wanna do sort of like a rover, right? And that would be the one that they build, they program, all that stuff. But have sort of like an add-on where they could put a copter where the add-on, all they would do is program it. Because since it's middle school, it's too much to ask of them to do everything for a copter and a rover.
Right.
So to be just like a perk, like an add-on where they can play with it and it'll fly around and also be able to roll.
And be able to combine maybe 2 of these ideas into one.
Okay. Well, the question I have is with the flying around aspect, you do have kids playing,
Right.
you know, they're gonna tell us go after
Yeah,
the
it has
side
to be like a
step.
special day where they
Right,
use that.
right, you gotta think about safety, especially when it's flying around, but, definitely keep it simple. You know, whichever design you decide to go, because if you make it too complicated, kind of defeats the purpose.
It's gonna get the grasp.
Right. All right, cool, thank you.
Great idea.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.